Many years ago, American soldiers fought in World War I. In Belgium, France, there was a beautiful place called Flanders Fields. A war or battle took place at Flanders Fields, and 370 American soldiers lost their lives that day. Flanders Fields was this gorgeous, beautiful place where people would go, and as you can see, it was a beautiful field of flowers. John McCrae wrote a poem inspired by this field where a battle took place. This field is what we saw in the Charlie Brown cartoon before you just joined me. It says, in Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row by row. The crosses are meant to represent the graves of the soldiers who lost their lives that day. That marks our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing by, scarce heard amid the guns below. Where are the dead? Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. So these soldiers had families and love and felt the sun on their face. And after this battle, they were no longer around to appreciate the beauty. Take up our quarrel with the foe, which means the enemy. To you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Field. So this poem means that our soldiers who were once walking around, living, breathing, experiencing everyday life like we do, lost their lives and now are laid to rest in this beautiful field. And because of this poem, the poppy flower became a symbol of our veterans, those who fought in wars for our country. The poppy represents them and their sacrifice to our country. Today's project is going to involve poppies, and after our video lesson, I would love if you'd go back and rewatch the cartoon, now knowing what you know, and listen to what Linus is telling us about this sacred place. Today we are going to begin creating landscapes honoring our veterans by using Flanders Field as our inspiration. When we look at Flanders Fields, we notice a lot about space. We see when creating a landscape that we have a horizon line. A horizon line is where the sky meets the earth. And when we look off into the distance, it looks like a line going across. We need to be careful when we are using landscapes to make sure things have the correct perspective. There is a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And things that are up close look much larger than things in the middle or in the back. Looking at our picture, we see that in the foreground we have a very large poppy that is almost right up in front of the picture. And as we move back to the middle ground, the poppies get smaller until we get to the background where they're very, very tiny. And we are going to use that as our inspiration. Today, you are going to need a piece of paper and a pencil. We are going to create 2 days out of today's lesson, or this video, I should say, oops. So in the second part of our lesson, you will also need watercolors, water, and a protective surface to do your painting on. But right now, all you're going to need is your paper and your pencil. So pause the video and get your materials. Welcome back. I am actually going to use my marker board so that you can see better, and I'm going to use my black marker, but you use a pencil so that you are able to erase if you find the need. And we are going to create our Flanders fields and honor our veterans for Veterans Day by starting with a horizon line, that place where the sky meets the earth. I'm going to do it kind of high up because I want my field to have a large foreground and middle ground. I'm going to just go like this and make it look like hills. Then, starting in the foreground at the front of the picture, I am going to create these poppy-like shapes. They don't need to be perfect. And I'm going to do this in my pencil. I'm going to also make sure I leave a little opening for that black star that is in the center of our poppies. I am going to create that. Some larger poppies in the front. And as I move back, I want my poppies to get continuously smaller as we move back, because our eye sees it as if it is far away. So I want them to keep getting smaller and smaller until they're really little poppies in the background of our field. So I would have my field with the foreground and the larger poppies moving to the middle ground, and in the background I would have my teeny tiny poppies. From there, if you'd like to, you can trace it in black Sharpie so that you have a nice black and white image to start with. But you're going to put that away and pause and finish this project tomorrow, because this is a 2-day project. I really want you to take your time. On day 2, you are going to need water, as I said, and your watercolors. Remembering when we use watercolors, oops, I dropped my brush. Oops. Remembering when we use watercolor paints that we are not digging the paint out, and we use a lot of water, and we're gentle. It's not a toilet brush, it's a paintbrush. We're gentle, we're thoughtful artists when we're painting, not our face. I'm just showing you how gentle. So when I'm painting my surface, I'm gentle, using lots of water to spread that paint out and not digging it out, because it's not a spoon. We don't need to do that. We just wet the palette gently and paint. Remembering we can blend colors. If we blend our yellow and our red together, we'll get orange shades. We can blend our colors to create beautiful landscapes. When you are finished, you are going to have a beautiful poppy field representing Flanders field, and it'll look something like this. If you notice, I used many shades of green, and I included that black star in the middle of my poppies. The larger ones are in the front, and as they move to the background, they get progressively smaller. I also blended in a little white watercolor with my sky to create that look. Here's another one that I did. In this one, you can see that I added some purple to the sky. Maybe it was a different time of day. And I added some yellow into the grass right there to almost make it look like the sun was creating this kind of shimmer in the grass. When you have finished this on day 2 of the project, I want you to ask yourself those questions. Did I follow directions and create a landscape having a horizon line with a foreground, a middle ground, and a background? How was your craftsmanship? Did you work neatly? Is this something that you're proud to show me? And were you creative? Is this a beautiful, original piece? If you can say yes to those things, I want you to sign your name and share your beautiful Flanders Field landscape with me. Thanks so much, guys.